Hey, right, first off, excuse the mess. Excuse the dodgy method of holding the car up. My axle stands are a little in use elsewhere. It's not as dodgy as it looks, I promise. Honestly. Yeah, so. Right. Compression struts. That was today's job. I've been putting it off, but needed to get on with it. It was holding me up, because I've got a new power steering rack and I need to get on to fitting it. So, absolutely glorious bit of kit, but something about welding it in yourself just scares me. And considering I only started welding about 4 weeks ago, I've kind of been building my way up, practicing as I go, doing stuff that isn't, you know, particularly structural, kind of like this kind of thing here, you know, stuff that isn't structural. But this certainly is. My welds fail, I'm dying basically. So yeah, I've put it off until now. Try to find information out about doing it, but there's just an abundance of lack of information on there. There's nothing. There's a couple of forums from 2010 where people were talking about it, but there was no guide, there was no solid word on how to do it. Plus, they're never listed for a Capri, they're always listed for an Escort. And although they're virtually identical, part of me was like, you know, does it actually fit? Because there is some difference here. Basically, this lip continues to here, scoops up to here. So behind it, it's flat, like you can see here. It does just act as a lip. So I trimmed that back after offering it all up and seeing where I needed a trim, obviously. And it's been welded in place, and it's, you know, it's sturdy as. So I am quite happy. That weld isn't the best. I did realise that it's a bit thin there. It's not as thick as the rest of the chassis, this skin here. And it was also a little difficult figuring out where it needs to be. When you bolt down the arm, it does kind of stay where it needs to be, but it does sag that way a little bit. So what I did was I made these little plates and I welded these two bars on it. Now, when they're in place, these bars, which are quite taut, they sit either side of the arm, and I spray painted all around the plate. You can see it on the floor here, sorry council. And that then was where it was before I started to, you know, undoing everything. Now, take it away, undo the arm, undo the anti-roll bar, drop it out, take the arm off, fit your new arm. You can use your old arm, I suppose, but obviously the ball joint's going to be good, and so is the bush there. This bush gets removed. These are brand new arms, so it's a bit of a shame to waste, you know, a complete bush. But as far as I can tell, you don't use the bush at all. I imagine you can get a very small shim-sized bush, but what that does is probably negligible. Put the plate with the rods back in place, line it up with this marking on the floor. I suppose there's other ways to do it, but I haven't got any stands left, like I said, and this is all I could think of. Then move the suspension back and forth until these line up. Then fit the compression strut, do this nice and tight, and then offer it up to where it needs to go after you've cut, and it should give you the near enough dimensions for where you need to weld. Start it here, give it a tack, went on the other side, good few lines, and then did here, did under here, here, and here. And now with this set roughly halfway, it's more that way than it is halfway, but about halfway. Now I've got plenty of adjustment in this to push the caster back where it should be. Because looking at it, even though my it's not tight, but it kind of is this way a bit too much, a little too much. Obviously there's some adjustment in the toe, but I believe the caster needs to come forward a little bit. But there's plenty of adjustment now because I've set it somewhat halfway. So if it needs to go that way, it does. If it needs to go that way, I go either way. The only other tip that I picked up was, which I probably wouldn't have realised on my own until I got into the nitty gritty of it, is these need to be flipped. This is actually the driver's side, because when the anti-roll bar is in, it's the other way around. The hole faces this way, where right now it faces this way to suit the compression strut. I can't remember his name, but some bloke mentioned it on the forum, and I'm grateful he said it because now I know. And that's the only trick I could think of that's needed, really. I don't know if the Escort struts are a little wider. There was a tiny gap, but within a bit of weld can't fill in. There's the other side, which I haven't tightened up yet. Yeah. I myself, I'm going to my father's Capri. This is a 24mm anti-roll bar. My father has a well, I'll call it a 20mm anti-roll bar, or maybe even 19 with the amount of paint that's on it. Yeah, 19mm. So it's quite a lot skinnier. So since I won't actually need it as a tie rod, I will give him my anti-roll bar, because as far as I can tell he's not going compression strut. Or maybe he will, I don't know. It's a bit far off that yet. He will have mine, I will have his. I will then weld a tab around here. Hopefully I can weld to it. I can tell it's cast, but or maybe a U-clamp. Daft dog. Maybe a U-clamp, maybe weld. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. A little tab here, bolt hole. Then that 19mm anti-roll bar will be put in place. It'll be offered up here or thereabouts. Depends how it interacts with the tie rod. And it will be an anti-roll bar, purely anti-roll bar, just to give it a bit more taut sort of suspension characteristics. Yeah, that's about it, really. Nothing much I can say about them. I haven't got them aligned yet or anything, obviously. That's something that'll have to happen. The steering is going to be so far out, it's going to have to be dragged there, or maybe, well, trailered. Right, next job, get off with the, well, fit power steering basically. Take the cross member off, cut off the old mounts for the manual rack, and position and drill the new rack holes. Yeah, that'll be fun.